Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, and maybe it's good morning at your end. Thank you for joining us again this evening. This is the Leadership Live with Sam Adeyemi. We are a global community of leaders who believe that, like John Maxwell says, everything rises and falls on leadership. Where the head goes, that's where the rest of the body goes. We also believe that everyone can lead because those days when people believed that leadership was tied to positions, right? Those days are gone. Those theories are dead. Leadership now is simply the ability to influence one or more people to achieve goals. The key operative word is influence. And once you bring the definition or the understanding down to that, you realize all of us can do it. Because influence is the ability to alter the state of a person or thing. You have influenced someone before. Sadly, because a lot of people, only think of people at the top in government, in organizations, in the community. When you say leadership, most people abandon their own influence potential. All of us have the potential to lead, but most people abandon their influence potential, so they do not even develop their influence potential, right? And then at the end of the day, most of us feel like victims of those that have developed their influence potential and that deploy such potential. So here we are mass producing influencers, okay? People who are conscious of their influence potential, who develop their influence potential, and who deploy their influence potential for the improvement of mankind. Thank you for joining us today. Our usual process is I'll share some thoughts and then I'll give the opportunity for us to ask questions in the chat room. Anyway, this is a global community and we always have people joining us from all over the world. So thank you again for being here. Thank you, Johanna from Kano. Amazing. If it's your first time of joining us today, can you indicate in the chat room? Thank you. I know some of us are joining in on LinkedIn. Some others are joining in on Facebook. Some are joining in on YouTube. Some on X. Some on Instagram. Right? Thank you for joining in, whatever the platform is. We'll get into our discussion shortly. Oh, thank you, Dixoline Concepts. She says listening to you is golden. Thank you. Thank you. Adegwega, Doctor from Manchester. Good to see you again. Right. Is this live? Yes, it is live. Yes, it is. Thank you, Mrs. King. Good to see you. Psalm 7, good to see you again. Absolutely regular from Kumasi, Ghana. Oh, okay. Sam says, amazing Monday. So, 365 days with Sam Adeyemi. It's day 15. And every day, in every way, I am getting better and better. The 5 minutes every day at 5 a.m. GMT is mind shifting. It prepares me for a day full of possibilities. Thanks, my pastor teacher. Enjoy the Lord's blessings. Fantastic. Thank you for that feedback. And just in case you're wondering, what's 365 days with Sam Adeyemi about? Oh, well, it is the resurgence, let me use that word, resurgence of our daily broadcasts. It used to be on radio, right? I went on radio 31 years ago, right? And had the opportunity. Eventually, we added TV, influenced millions of people across many countries and several continents, right? Technology has changed. So we stopped on radio and TV, re strategized, and now we've launched online. 5 minutes daily, 5 a.m. GMT, 6 a.m. West African time. The 5 minutes audio drops along with some notes. The feedback is explosive. So, just in case you want to find out what it's about and how to subscribe, samadeyemi.com, right? Just go right now on your browser, samadeyemi.com, and immediately you'll see a form that will take you to the page that talks about that. That's it, samadeyemi.com. All right. Good to see you, my sister Janet from Indiana. Thank you. Today says, hello, sir, you are a superhero. Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's some huge compliment. Good to see you, Kenneth from India. Amazing. Pastor Tim from Chicago. Thank you so much. Good to see you again. Eniola in Lagos. Good to see you. Mrs. Kings in Ogun State, Nigeria. Good to see you. Ayomide in Lekki. Gabriel in Abuja. Wansa in Kent, England. Good to see you again. And Simpson, good to see you from Wales in the UK. Kenny is from Ekiti, Nigeria. Patrick says it's your first time, so you're welcome very specially. Chinyere is in Lagos. Good to see you. Boluwatufe in Ogun State. Dixolin Concerts in Lagos. Awesome. Damilola is in Lorry, Nigeria. Esther, it's your first time, so you're especially welcome, right? Right. Faith Daisy, waiting with high expectancy, ready to explore how we can align our identity core with the scale of the assignments we are stepping into this season. Absolutely, that's what this is about, right? That is what this is about. Listen, Les Brown captured it in a way I can never forget. For you to do something you have never done before, you need to become someone you have never been before. So what we're discussing here is beyond tactics or frameworks. We are practically exploring identity shifts here. A lot of people pursue change on the outside. It doesn't work like that. The change must begin from the inside, right? Good. Identity shift. That's what we have here. You become a new person. Hanging with us. And I hope we know that these sessions, we store them on our YouTube page. It stays there on X, stays there on Facebook. And if you're going to get the best out of anything, you need to watch like 2-3 times, all right? Awesome. Esther is in the UK. Thank you. Thank you. Good to know. Dr. Mama, Cape Town. Oh, thank you so much. Good to see you. Thank you. Oh, Ayomide, it's your first time. Special welcome. Gobadia, your first time. Olive, it's your first time. Special welcome. Evaus, it's your first time. Special welcome. Rotimi is joining us from Ogun State, Nigeria. Lawrence in Lagos. Fantastic. Opas, it's your first time, so special welcome. Thank you, Ricky from Cologne in Germany. Awesome. Good to see you. Thank you, Man of Prestige in New Jersey. Thank you. Says you've been a blessing to me over many years. Happy to hear that. Thank you so much. Right. Richard Adetunji is in Dublin. Fantastic. Good to see you. Rotimi is in Leeds in the UK. Fantastic. Yeah, Gobadia says it's my first time joining in from the US. Fantastic. Thank you. Emike is in Lagos. Fanmungu, I'm not sure if I have your name correct, but you're joining us from Jos. Moses is in Enugu. Kenneth says I'm a first timer. Fantastic. Fantastic. It's a privilege. I do read your books. Thank you for reminding some of us about the need to lead. Thank you. Thank you. Jennifer is in Kaduna. Amazing. Beautiful city. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Olushola is in Anambra. Enjoy is in Bayelsa. Zion is in Ikeja, Lagos. Binga is joining us from Canada. First time here. Special welcome. Praise. Thank you. Joining from London, the UK. Peter is in Lagos. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Eugene is in Lagos. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Faith, it's your first time, so thank you for joining us. If you put your city, the city and country you're joining in from, that helps a great, great deal. Kalumi is in Ile-Ife, right? Bizzle is in Ontario, Canada. Ezzy is in Paris, right? Paris. Thank you for joining us. Doris is in South Africa. Thank you. Adegoke in Ile-Ife, Samuel in Ghana. Amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Godwin in Ogun State. First time here. Precious. Fantastic. Thank you for joining us. Omolola is in Edinburgh, Scotland. Fantastic. Joseph in Lafia. Temitope in Benin. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Okay, let's do this, right? So for us in our community, leadership is ability to influence one or more people to achieve goals, not just about achieving positions. In fact, if you deploy your influence capacity, you will find it easy to rise to positions at the top. Let's use our influence, right? Let's test it. Let's activate, okay? Share the link for this broadcast. Share it with someone for this live event. Share it with someone. Now, you know, a lot of us complain about people occupying positions at the top in organizations, in government, because it is apparent to everybody that many actually don't have leadership skills. Right? It's an obvious thing, right? So the question you want to ask is, where did people actually learn leadership from? That was the question I asked that made me start a leadership school 24 years ago. I just looked around. I looked around in Nigeria and thought, oh my God, which school can we call a leadership school right now? So we started one. So I'm just saying, who knows? Your brother, your sister, your friend, right? Your colleague in the office, right? Who knows where they're going to be in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years? How do we know who's going to be a senator, or who's going to be a governor, or who's going to be a president, or who's going to be a CEO somewhere? Most people are going to be parents anyway. How are they going to be leading? So bringing someone into this room may be one of the greatest investments you're going to make in someone's life. Please go ahead and share. Yes, retweet, repost, bring someone in. All right. Thank you for doing so. Yes, Seth is joining. Temitope is joining us from Benin City in Nigeria. Seth is joining us from Milton Keynes in the UK. Fantastic. Oh, Rotimi says 2009 to date has been a great journey. Thank you for following. Thank you. Thank you, Gabriel. Okay. We're praying on it. Tunde is in Ilori. Thank you. Ayomide says, thank you, sir. I'm so elated to join this evening. I feel like I'm sitting in the same room with you, listening to speak. I'll make sure to always join in henceforth. I don't want to take this proximity for granted. Thank you. You know, that's the blessing. That's the beauty of technology today. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at the moment. The next time we're here, I'll likely be in another country. And it's just still we're able to gather together globally. Fantastic. All right. So we're getting into our subject matter in just a moment. Oh, fantastic. So, Rotimi, you're a product of DSAP. DSAP is Data Skill Acquisition Program, one of the most powerful programs we set up in Nigeria. We teach about 23 or 24 vocational skills, right? And most of the people that attend are graduates. So he says he attended the school now in the UK. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit. Now, this is exciting. Mr. Data, thank you for joining us from Lagos. Amolola says, my 10-year-old son, Daniel, likes to watch you teach. Please pray for him. Oh my God, he's blessed already, and he's going to be greater than me. He enjoys God's protection and God's wisdom. In Jesus' name, amen. Wow, isn't that amazing? I have young fans. Oh my God. Thank you, Vincent in the UK. Thank you for joining us. Olumide Nilori, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Oluwaseyi. Amazing. All right. So last week we started this discussion on becoming an extraordinary leader. Becoming an extraordinary leader, right? We spoke about character, we spoke about vision, we spoke about emotional intelligence, or the capacity for love. Let's start from there. Or let's continue from there today, right? When I use the love word in boardrooms or in strategic leadership trainings, people looked shocked. Oh, by the way, I should say a big thank you to my friends in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Yes, I was there over the weekend and it was amazing. It was an amazing experience together there. So big thank you for your hospitality, guys. Thank you. Right. Okay. Oh, yes. And I had the opportunity of doing book signing, signing copies of Shifts. And it's amazing. They snapped up every copy that we took there. Okay. Oh, yes. You may have seen on social media that I was at Barnes & Noble, Alpharetta, Georgia, last week. I just popped in, I was in Alpharetta and my friend Anne Bruce, who was fantastic in helping to produce Shifts, she went into Barnes & Noble in Ventura, California, and she took pictures because she had been there before, saw Shifts, but now she saw them put more copies on the shelf, which means it's moving. And she sent me a text message and I said, oh, sure. And I realized there was a Barnes & Noble just half a mile from me. So I just popped in there on the way home and asked, do you have Shifts? And yes, they brought the book out. So I said to the lady, I'm the author. She was very excited. She almost jumped on me. Anyway, I said, I want to sign it. I want to sign it for the next person who's going to come in to buy a copy. So she said, oh, sure. And then she put a sticker on it, autographed, and said, will you like to take a picture? I said, sure. I posted it on social media and I said, if you are anywhere near Alpharetta, Georgia, go to the Barnes & Noble there and grab that copy. A big thank you to the gentleman who told me when I signed the copy at the Barnes & Noble at the Perimeter, Atlanta, and put it on social media, he said he drove 1 hour to go there and to grab that copy, right? I'm going there very soon to sign another one. Okay, so I said last week we discussed emotional intelligence as one of the major qualities of a leader, right? We said it's a superpower for leaders to be aware of their own emotions, aware of other people's emotions, and to have the capacity for empathy, capacity to feel for other people, to care for other people. and the big word is love. And I emphasize, we're not talking about romantic love here. We're talking about the capacity to recognize value in another human being. Now, my background as a person of faith, tells me that this kind of love is sacrificial. It's the kind of a love that helps you to recognize that every human being is practically an extension of God, right? You see God in each person. You see each person at the highest level, the best they could ever be. And the moment you do that, you spot gaps in their lives. You spot gaps in their lives. Now, love motivates you to bridge those gaps. I'm doing this today because I realize that the human mind is a terrible thing to waste. I realize that our systems in this world are built to lock people in to different levels in the society. And if you're not careful, you just go through the school system, just go through the society, you find yourself locked in. If you're fortunate to be born into a wealthy family, that's where you start from. It's just the way our world works. The schools that the children of the wealthy attend, they're different, right? The relationships that they build in there, different. The opportunities available to them, different. Those born in those parts of the world or the community or a city that are deprived, except something extraordinary happens, they just find themselves locked in. And gratefully, some of us have been able to make our way through, and we realize everybody deserves a higher quality of life. So, and I realize it all starts from the mind. Transformation starts from the mind. If anybody tells you there's any other way it goes, they may not be telling you the truth, right? You are literally what you think. So, every leader must have that capacity to feel for people, to empathize with people, and to do everything possible to serve people, to bridge gaps in people's lives, to bring transformation to people's lives, right? Good. I mentioned this book last week, Love as a Business Strategy. I was so excited. Aunt Bruce saw this book and said, Sam will like this book, bought it and sent me this copy, right, as a gift. Yes. Okay. So let's move on, right? Communication. Let's talk about communication. You want to be an extraordinary leader, you've got to prioritize communication and you've got to acquire communication skills. Okay? You got to acquire communication skills. Oh, good to see. Oh, Faith, you're joining us from Kaduna. Fantastic. And it's your first time. So special welcome, right? Wale is in Calgary. Oh, my sweetheart and I will be in Calgary this weekend, right? With House of David, RCCG House of David. Powerful leadership session on Saturday morning. Special session for the women, right, with Pastor Nike on Saturday evening, and then the big service on Sunday. Whoa, we're looking forward to it. Big shifts in leadership. Thank you, Marshall from Kaduna State. It's your first time, right? Oh, you attended the GLS, the Global Leadership Summit in ABU Zaria. Obviously, you saw me on the video. Fantastic. Good to have you here. Thank you. Families, everything. Thank you. Awesome. McHenry in Edo State. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Kwasi in Ghana. Wow. Thank you for joining us. Richard says, honestly, your messages have been a daily topic for me from before they started up to now. Thank you. Oh, wow. Now this is amazing, right? Germany King, surfing the internet on LinkedIn and saw the notification, and here you are. That's providence. And I'm praying that you won't forget today in a hurry. All right. Victor from Sweden, thank you. Moses in Lagos, thank you. Olayinka is asking, when will you be in Vancouver? I am looking forward to being in your city. Okay. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. Thank you for joining us, Moses. It's your first time. Micah, it's your first time. Thank you for joining us. Damilola from Lagos. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Ifeoma is joining from Texas. Wow. Joshua is in Lagos. Pastor Doka is in Enugu. Akudo, it's your first time joining us from Ibadan. Chika in Lagos. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so let's talk about communication, right? So just think about it. Last week, when we began to discuss the qualities that make you an extraordinary leader, we're in extraordinary times, right? Vision. We mentioned vision. It's so important that once you take it out, there's nothing left. Honestly, vision makes a leader, right? Where there is no vision, there's no leader. And vision is the ability to see people, places, and things, not just the way they are, but the way they could be. You see why leaders always strive for improvement. I know some people are just satisfied being the boss, right? That's fine, but that's not leadership. The position may make you a leader. That makes you a positional leader, but nothing more than that, right? So if you're going to be an extraordinary leader, you've got to see in an extraordinary way. And we're not talking about your physical eyes. I'm talking about your imagination, right? You've got to see the possibilities other people cannot see. Good. Now, it's not enough for you to have vision. You've got to be able to communicate it. What will make 50 people to follow you, to decide to go with you to achieve those big goals you say you want to achieve? What would make 100 people to follow you? What would make 1,000 people to follow you? 10,000, 50,000, 100,000, right? Some of us are wondering, how do I get to have a lot of followers on social media? Following is following, right? Following is following. You've got to be someone who is seeing a future that is better than today. And more than that, you've got to be effective in transferring that idea, those pictures in your mind, transferring them into the hearts and minds of other people, to the point where they adopt. They are also seeing what you're seeing, they adopt it, and they decide to go with you. Now that is leadership. Transferring that idea, that's what communication is about, right? Communication is not just talking, it's more than that. It's more than that. It's more than that. And let me say this. Communication is more than just talking. It is effectively transferring the idea in your mind into someone else's mind. In our own scenario, right, this is leadership communication. So it's not even enough to transfer the idea into somebody's mind. It is to so transfer the idea into someone's mind that they adopt the idea as their own, and it shifts their thinking. It shifts their belief. It shifts their perspective. It shifts the way they see themselves and the way they see other people and the way they see the world. That is when transformation happens, right? That is when transformation happens. Until you shift people's belief systems, you're not going to change their behavior, right? Because when you shift their beliefs, some people don't know, but unconsciously, because of the environment that they were raised in, they believe that men are superior to women. Now, some people have not thought about it before, but actually intrinsically, because of the kind of environment that they grew up in, it's sitting in there quietly and influencing the decisions, right? When I tell people about most of the developing part of the world, like I come from Africa, and I tell people that the leadership culture, we keep thinking things will change when we change the leaders, when we change personalities. And I say, but why don't you open your eyes, right? Why don't you really, really face the facts and realize that we have been changing personalities now for decades, right? I know in some countries, some personalities have refused to leave the presidency. But for the most part, right, the personalities have been changing, but the results have remained the same. It is not the personalities. What you are dealing with is a culture. What you are dealing with is a culture. What you're dealing with is a mindset. What you're dealing with is a belief system. And it is a collective belief system. That's why we call it culture. And it is shaping people's behavior. You are not going to get different results until you shift those beliefs. Changing the mind of one person is hard work, not to talk of changing the minds of a nation, right? So you see why we need to take this leadership thing seriously? Yes, we need to take it seriously. Okay, so communication is a skill. It's a skill that is studied right up to the doctoral level, right? People get PhDs in communication. So you've got to be intentional. You want to be an extraordinary leader, you want to get extraordinary results, you will need to be intentional in studying communication, right? Did I mention last week that I bought a book many years ago, How to Win Friends and Influence People? Realizing that as an introvert, right, communication was not a strong point for me, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People. I marked almost everywhere in that book. Old book, but powerful. How to start a conversation. The things that people like to talk about. The questions you can ask someone and they'll start talking about themselves, right? People like to talk about themselves. That's what I discovered. How to find common grounds. How to listen. How, when we were in school, there are 4 dimensions to communication. We were taught 3, and the 4th one we were not taught. We were taught reading, writing, speaking. We were not taught listening. And honestly, if you don't develop listening skills, what you will say and write are likely to be wrong. When you're in a conversation, have you observed that when we're in a conversation with someone, when the person is talking, we don't concentrate on what they're saying 100% most of the time. We're actually thinking of what we will say, thinking about what we will say when they have stopped. And that helps us to miss the essence of what they're saying. I learned to listen to people. I found out if I listen very well, I'll have a question to ask them, right, about what they're saying from what they said. And with that, we can keep the conversation on and on and on and on. I learned, for example, how not to make people uncomfortable when we're communicating. If somebody says something and the first word that comes out of your mouth is but, psychologically, you've communicated to the person that you don't agree with what the person is saying. That the next thing you're going to say is superior to what they have been saying. How does that make them feel? Puts them on the defensive. So they too then listen, looking for how to counter whatever point that you want to make. It was from the book by Dale Carnegie that I learned to use and instead of but. Somebody says something, I say fantastic. And that communicates to the person, what I'm about to say is an addition to what they just said, right? It's not in opposition to what they said. What they said was brilliant. Even if it is slightly different from what they said, but at least they're not poised to oppose what I'm saying, right? Leadership communication was one of the courses that I studied in my Doctor of Strategic Leadership program. It's a big deal, right? Good. So I'm just saying here, as a leader, every conversation with individuals, with groups, the teams that we lead, they shape people's minds. They shape people's belief systems. They ultimately shape culture. They ultimately shape culture. And you're not changing anything until you develop the capacity to shift culture. clear communication, reduces fear and confusion. We've got to learn to speak with clarity. When we communicate, when we speak, it's got to give people clarity. In my early years in leadership, because my gifts have to do with wisdom and knowledge and teaching, I liked to be deep in my communication. I liked to wow people. I liked to talk, to land points in a way that you would swallow what I said. You would just do, right? I wanted to be profound. At the end of the day, I found out it was a waste of time. If you're so profound, people don't understand what you're saying. They will be highly impressed, but they will not be able to follow you because they can't even see where you're going. Interestingly, I found out simplicity is power in communication. Use the simplest words to communicate your ideas. What people need is clarity. You remove the confusion for them, you remove the doubts. It is easier for them to understand what you're saying, not just understand, to see what you're saying, to see where you say we're going, and to follow you in going there, right? Should I say one other thing that is important in leadership communication? Repetition. Repetition. Remember, we're here to shift people's perspectives. We are here to shift people's mindsets, right? Not just mindsets, to shift people's values. To shift people's values. To do that, you have to repeat again and again and again and again. People don't get it the first time. Especially these days, there's just too much stimuli, too much information bombarding people's minds. You have to repeat the same thing over and over and over and over. Let me throw this in. Okay. You want to shift culture, right? Anyone that is building a team or building an organization in Africa, you literally have to create a unique culture. You've got to create your own. The external one, which is where you source people, the people in your team, organization from, that external one will continue to exert pressure on your internal culture. You've got to be intentional about building culture. If you are a CEO, that's probably the definition of your job description, shaping the culture. And the culture is the way we behave, which was developed over time as we have dealt with situations and circumstances, considered the options, made our decisions, and acted on what we decided, right? But by the time something becomes habit for the individual or culture for the team, the thing has moved from the conscious mind to the subconscious. 96% of decisions you make come from your subconscious. 96% of the decisions that you make come from your subconscious. You think you are the one making the decision. It is not you. It is your programming. When something gets into your subconscious, it has programmed you, right? We call it second nature. It is thinking without thinking. So that's what you need to shift. That's what you want to shift, right? So recently, my sweetheart and I were in Japan, and we observed something. The cleanliness. The Japanese people have a global reputation for that, right? The cleanliness. The cleanliness. They have a global reputation for that. What also then surprised us was we did not see bins on the road. We did not see bins in public places. You have a lot of that here in the US. So the question was, so how did they achieve this? Right there on the road, I went on my phone, I went online. And they said they inculcate it into the Japanese from childhood, from home. You don't drop trash. You don't drop things on the floor. They said, and then when they get to school, it is also reinforced. Of course, the first few years of your life, it's your parents and your family that you're hearing over and over and over and over. And then you get to school. What do we do in school except hearing, listening, hearing, seeing over and over and over every day? It is by the time they become adults, if they generate any trash outside, they take it home. They take it home. So that's culture, right? So as a leader, the reason why change is not happening on a mass scale and as fast as we want is because a lot of people that occupy leadership positions don't know how to shift culture. I said on social media once that if I was the president of Nigeria, I would address the whole country once a week, at least. Very likely on a Monday morning. I would record it. I will record. I mean, all the media houses are at the behest of the president anyway, in any country, right? 5 minutes on video. Then the audio too will be played on radio. Then the transcription, the script, it will be transcribed and put in the newspapers or wherever or online. Address the whole nation. Share my vision, right? Share my vision. Ideally, it should be repeated every day until you're able to shift, right? So repetition is your friend. Their leader, repetition is your friend. And the basic things you should be communicating as a leader. Now, this point is so heavy, so important. We're staying with only this today, okay? When you want to shift culture, you use your vision. You share your vision. That picture that you are seeing of a better future, you share it. Say it. In the early years in leadership, I would declare a vision day and then pour out my heart. And then I might not talk about it again for the next 6 months or 1 year. It did not work. It did not work. Now I use every opportunity I have, share the vision. 2, share the mission. And the mission statement is simply what we do every day to achieve the vision. Vision is a picture, right? Picture of the end point. The mission describes what we do every day to be able to get to that point. Then I talk about the core values. Core values are the principles, right? And standards. The principles and standards we have adopted to guide our decisions and our behavior. The things we've chosen to prioritize as being more important than others, right? So some of our communities don't value excellence. That's why the streets are not clean. That's why we don't have bins, right? That's why in some places, and you'll be surprised, I've been to a lot of developing countries in developing economies, and it's the same. The no gutters on the road, muddy water, potholes on the street, and so on, right? So mediocrity, low standards, that's the culture. People have not talked about it because it's not only one person that is doing it; it's everywhere. So it's culture. The opposite of it is excellence, right? The possession of good quality to a high degree. So if you want to introduce, which we have practiced, right, in the organizations that we run, you want to introduce a culture of excellence, you have to first of all talk to people. In fact, if excellence, high quality is important to the achievement of the goals of your organization, then it needs to be one of your core values. That's why an organization should have core values, 3, 4, 5 of them, right? Some organizations even have 7, right? But you need to choose words that will form an acronym. Let the first letters together form an acronym so that people can easily memorize. Those core values need to go into people's brains to the extent that it influences their behavior, right? Let me end with this point. If you're going to communicate effectively as a leader, and in this situation, we're saying as an extraordinary leader, an extraordinary leader, because these are extraordinary times, you must use stories. You must learn to tell stories. Stories are so powerful. They are so powerful. They bypass obstacles in the mind to connect with the person's heart, with the person's subconscious. They put people's brains under scanners, right? And told stories. They found out that the parts of the brain that were activated in the person telling the story were also activated in the person that was listening. In fact, when the stories were about real events, they found out that the parts of the brain that were activated while the event was happening were the same parts of the brain that were activated in the people that were listening to the story. It's so powerful. So you've got to learn to use it. At some point, the disciples of Jesus Christ asked him a story. Why do you always talk to the crowd with stories? Why do you use parables? Why do you use illustrations? And it is recorded in the Bible that he never said anything to the crowd without using illustrations or parables. That tells you how powerful it is, right? So be intentional. Anytime you are holding a meeting with your team, anytime you're going to address maybe a group of people, please be intentional in preparing what you want to say. And remember what I said. In communicating with members of your team, please repeat your vision, your mission, your core values again and again and again and again. I know if you've tried it before, right, you would say, but sometimes even you will begin to feel boring. You feel that the stories are boring. Yes, sir. Yes, that's why a lot of leaders don't do it, and that's why we have problems. Repeat it. An older leader, a wise leader said, when you begin to do your repetition and the people begin to roll their eyes and look like they are bored, he said, take that as a sign that they are just beginning to get it. Don't stop. Don't stop. Those core values, right? Like honesty, excellence, like empathy, like, customer service, exceptional customer service. Find stories of people that did them. Repeat those stories. Or if anybody on your team or your organization practices any of them, use their stories, right? Use their stories. Use their stories. Very important, right? All right, I'm going to stop there. Just in case you joined in after we started, somebody asked me a question earlier on about, one of us shared his experience with our daily broadcast, 365 Days with Sam Adeyemi. That's our friend, Sam 7 from Kumasi, Ghana. He said it's been mind-shifting for him, right? We started just 15 days ago. So, and somebody then asked, what's 365 Days about? And I explained, 365 Days with Sam Adeyemi is I use the word resurgence of our daily radio broadcast. We were running the broadcasts many years ago, life transforming for millions of people, and we stopped on radio, stopped on TV because technology has changed. Now it's online. So I invite everyone in our community. It's a platform for our movement. and we want to bring people into the movement. We are a global leadership movement, right? samadeyemi.com. If you are not in yet, samadeyemi.com. The moment you sign in, you'll see a form pop up and you'll be able to go to the page, see what it's about, and see how to subscribe. Yeah, we ask for a small commitment, but it is the price of a cup of coffee. The value is way more than that. It's just that we need people who are serious minded in our community right now. Okay, good. Do you have any questions for me before we go? I'll take a few of them, right? Type them in the chat room. Damilola says, you're speaking into my season. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I work abroad. I shy away from commenting during meetings as I feel that my speaking isn't so fluent and I don't like it. What speaking class do you recommend that I enroll in? You know the amazing thing? Those meetings are your speaking class. Let me assure you that the major part of our world, I think more than 70% of the world is introverted. I am introverted, right? So I understand what you're saying perfectly. I would not be the first person to speak before. I would not even, if you ask somebody to raise their hands or to make a contribution, I would not before. However, I found out that we are way better than we think, and our ideas are way better than we think they are. Also, there's a sense in which we tend to think that the people that speak up are more intelligent than others. And it's just because they speak up, right? So, even after you have enrolled in the classes, you will still have to speak, right? So I don't have a class at the moment. We are working on a course on public speaking, definitely. We're working on one. We will launch it not long from now. But I'll just tell you that there is no single person that knows everything, that is all wise, right? And when you are with a group of people, in fact, when I lead a team, I lay down rules. Don't shoot down another person's idea here because it kills the flow of ideas. I tell them that a bad idea, right? If you think what someone said was a bad idea, actually sometimes a bad idea knocks off a good idea in somebody's mind. So speak. First, you will find out that you did not die. Two, the more you speak, the more confidence you will gain in speaking. Let me assure you, since you apparently are introverted or you're likely to be introverted, it means that your powerhouse is in your mind. But because those are your thoughts, that's what you think normally, you don't realize how powerful they are until you start speaking. That's what got me here. Just realizing that, oh, there's a way my mind is wired. When I share my idea, people say, wow, wow, wow. So once you start, the responses of other people will help build your confidence. Even if they don't respond positively, just keep going. Practice makes perfect. Okay, good. But I'll bring this to the attention of our team so that we can hasten work on our public speaking course. Thank you, Eric. He says, I've just started learning new things. I almost skipped this notification on LinkedIn. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Pastor Timothy. Thank you. Okay. I intend to become a leadership coach, but I was told by someone that the leadership space is already saturated. What is your view on this? How can I make myself unique in the leadership space? This is a very good question. Which space is not saturated, really? The question you should, in fact, the question all of us should ask is, how good is the leadership right now, globally? How good is the leadership right now? Something happened just after the 2008 2009 global economic recession. People began to ask the best business schools of this world big questions, because the people that wrecked the global economy were products of the best business schools. Okay? So everybody had to admit that there's something wrong. Something is wrong with the leadership curriculum. So right now, people are asking, how about ethical leadership? How about moral leadership? If you live in Africa, is the leadership in Africa that we want to say is going so fantastically well that the space is saturated? Come on. So I wanted to, like I said, in a lot of industries, there's saturation. But what you always do is, with your own unique gifting or talent, passion, and skills, look at everything that is going on and look for gaps. Look for gaps. It is plugging the gaps that will differentiate you. You ask, how can I make myself unique in the leadership space? Plug the gaps. Find a gap and plug it. Right? Like I just said, for example, that a lot of the leadership does not have ethical leadership or moral leadership in its curriculum. You have frameworks, you have principles, you have strategies, but little on character, on the formation of character. Okay. If you are in Africa, I'm sorry, the space is not even saturated at all. There's a lot of work to do. Okay. Approach it that way. And please look for gaps based on your own unique perspective to the world. Thank you, Abiodun. Hoping to reunite with you in Calgary. Yes, later this week we'll be in Calgary, Canada, with Pastor Nickel. Okay, a few more minutes. I know it's late already for some of us. So, how can the leader develop self-leadership in this 21st century? What are the basic principles for success? Right? Because personal success is self-leadership. Okay. You need to have a dream. You need to have a personal vision. You need to have a personal vision. You need to do deep introspection, right? Look at your life. Look at where you are coming from, the challenges you have faced, the successes you've had. Project into the future. 10 years from now, 2030, what would you want your life to be? Take time to create it in your imagination, right? And if you're a person of faith like me, pray, because God, the Creator, has a plan for your life. So it's actually more of a discovery than something you create yourself. So you need to have a dream, you need to have a vision, and then you need to break it down and set goals, short-term goals, medium-term goals, long-term goals. You need to develop plans for achieving each goal. Yes, work out the steps, and then take action, right? Take action. Look at your own personal challenges and find solution to them. Acquire knowledge, read, study, attend the seminar. It's fantastic you're attending this leadership live. Yeah? Acquire knowledge, acquire wisdom, get a mentor if you can. That helps to shorten your journey. Whatever you need to do, do it to succeed, to achieve your goals. That is self-mastery. That is self-government. That is self-leadership. We have more tools at our disposal today than ever before. I must warn you though, we have more distractions today than we ever had before. In my own estimation, young people see today in 5 days or 5 weeks what we saw in 5 years growing up. So the distraction is massive. That's why you must have a vision, so that when you go on social media or wherever, you know what you're looking for on YouTube, you know what you're looking for, right? And the algorithms are there to help you. Once they say you watch videos or you engage some particular posts on some particular subject, that's what will be coming to you. Make sure you're engaging what will add value to your destiny. Right. How do I know my purpose? Good question. How do I know my purpose? Your purpose is the reason for the existence of a thing. How do I know? I say, number one, check your design. The design is always in the purpose. Okay. Find out what your talents are, right? 2, look back into your history. What are the things that have worked for you? 3, check your passion. What are the things that really bother you? The problems in this world that you feel that you must do something about. 4, ask for feedback from people around you. They see your gift, your talents better and faster than you would. Okay? Get feedback from the people around you. Finally, pray. If you can't, pray. Your purpose is inside God's mind, right? Please share your best 5 books on communication. That's a lot of books. Some of them are academic books I used during my doctoral program. I mentioned one, and that's just basic enough. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Good question. How is there leadership at home? How best do I lead as a husband and father? Fantastic. Fantastic. Yes, there's leadership at home. And I'll tell you this. I believe that the family is the most important leadership institution in the world. That's where a human being is shaped before we even ask the school to help us, to join us in doing the job, right? So how do you lead as a husband or father? You must have a vision, not just for yourself, but for the family. What's the vision? Ultimately, what do you see for this family in the future? What's the mission of this family? What do you think is the assignment of your family? What value will your family add to the world? Check the history of the family. Look at your own circumstances, right? And then try to come up with an idea of the value that you think your family will add especially to the world. Then you got to talk, you got to sell your vision. You got to sell your vision. You got to talk, because vision brings discipline into your life, right? Once your destination is defined, it's not every road that will take you there. So that helps. That helps your wife. That helps your children to have an idea as a family. This is where we're operating. We're here for leadership. We're here to add tremendous value to our world, right? That gives everybody a sense of purpose, a sense of direction from scratch, and gives everybody hope for tomorrow. And honestly, that influences the level at which the family operates, right? And of course, you build the family into a team. You need to have family meetings. We do. Apart from praying together is very important. But apart from that, you need to discuss together, right? Where the family is going, what is acceptable in the family, what's not acceptable in the family, and so on. All right. We're almost there. In a community where the majority leaders are of a mediocre mindset, how does a fresher in such a community rise? This is a fantastic question. Fantastic question that will be helpful to young people in Africa, Asia, in fact, practically every country, right? You want to shift balance of power. You want to make the world better. So this is it. First, remember, you have a vision for the community. Yeah. you're passionate to see things improve, to see change happen in the community, right? The next thing is service. To begin to add value to the community. That's the only way they're going to pay you attention. Identify people's needs in the community and begin to see how to meet those needs. Okay? That's how you get buy-in with people. That's a basic principle in leadership. People buy into the leadership, into the leader before they buy into the leader's vision. People buy into the leader before they buy into the leader's vision. And you said, earlier on, I spoke about love is the most effective way to add value to anybody. So you can start from a very simple level. There are likely some people in the community who don't have food to eat. Start from there. Maybe some parts of the community need cleaning. Start from there. You'll be amazed. You see, people think leadership is a complicated thing, and it's not. So in Nigeria, I have seen some people develop powerful political influence just by meeting basic needs in their communities. So I grew up in a state in Nigeria where a gentleman noticed that there was shortage of water, a medical doctor, and his practice wasn't in the city, right? He had moved from his home state to Lagos, and he would go back at weekends and he would get these tankers that will have water, and they will go around the community giving water to people. Eventually he had the politics of the state by the jugular. There was another gentleman in another state. He was not even educated, but every day in his house he would cook food, and people would come line up to get the food, and he would dispense basic drugs, right, for headache and malaria. You can't believe it. PhD holders, professors, everybody eventually had to submit to him. He had the politics of the state by the jugular. So I'm saying to you as a young person, it's not as complicated as we think. Pay attention to people, meet basic needs, okay? Meet basic needs. All right. Thank you, everybody. That's about how far we can go today. We want to get to sleep. Remember, 365 Days with Sam Adeyemi is on powerful 5-minute broadcast every single day. And we've done 15 days so far, and the response has just been amazing. A big thank you to everyone who subscribed already. I want to say this. If you had me on radio or on TV years ago, and maybe now you have kids, right? I want to ask you to subscribe for your children, okay? Or for young people around you, okay? Subscribe for them. Let them experience what we experienced. And I believe our future will be better than our yesterday. I want to say a big thank you to you for joining this live event today. SamAdeyemi.com. That's where to go to find out about 365 Days with Sam Adeyemi. SamAdeyemi.com. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy your evening or your day or the rest of your day. And have an amazing week. Bye for now.